So last month, NASA collided a spacecraft with an asteroid to verify they could alter its orbit to save the Earth in case one came in our direction. So I went outside to see if I could see anything happen the night that they did that. And something did come across the sky. And it really wasn't the velocity of the International Space Station. And it kind of hovered over and landed down in my backyard. You know, I waited for the hissing and the steaming to stop, and it kind of held my hand over to make sure it was cooling down enough. I wondered if I should touch it or not. I might get electrocuted or something. And so then once it was cool, I kind of approached it and thought, well, I'm going to knock on it and see if something's in there. Well, that sounds neat. So look on the side, it looks like there's some windows on it. So maybe if you knock on the window, I might see something. No. No. I see a lot of skeptical faces. You probably don't believe that story, do you? Wells Maxwell Smart used to say, would you believe this story? In June, my son got married in France, and after that, my wife and I went down to Spain to have a week vacation. And we were walking around the old section of Barcelona, and I heard this really pretty, strange sound coming across the corner of the building. And walked out, and there was a square, and this guy was sitting down there, legs crossed, with a little flying saucer on his lap. And he was tapping his notes out of it. So I listened for a while, and then I had to catch up to the tour group and move on. I sort of forgot about it. And after I got home 2 weeks later, I was listening to this NPR show called Hearts of Space. Anybody who listened to that? And it sounded familiar. It sounded like the same thing. And they devoted a whole program to what they call the Handpan. So I looked up, tried to do a little research on YouTube, and found out originally it was invented by a couple, one company in Switzerland that was making, had been making steel drums, you know, the Tobago Trinidad steel drums. But they came up with this other idea, and worked over a couple of decades, and they came out with it at the turn of the century, around 2000. And it's been touted as the first acoustical music invention of the 21st century. So when I was researching it, I found a video put out by the company that invented it, PanArt. And lo and behold, it opened up the video with the guy, same guy that I saw in Barcelona, playing this thing. And so by then I was like, I gotta get one of those things. And then I found out this guy who was playing in Barcelona had an online course on how to play it. So I enrolled and learned how to play it.
Ben doesn't, so Ben, hey, wait. Inquiring minds want to know. If a person wanted something like that, where, you can't just go to Walmart and say, I'd like a handpan, please. Where'd you get it?
Amazon.com or Handpan.
And do you know the manufacturer who made it? Who made
This
it?
particular one is by Stella, but they're, the original company in Switzerland, when they first came out, they called them Hongs. And then a lot of people started wanting to make them, and they started using that name. And it's just like, the trouble we get with copyright on tab and stuff. They said you can't use the word Hong because that's a proprietary name. So eventually they came up with the name Handpan. If you Google Handpan, a bunch of different makers will come up. So there's a lot out there. Just like dulcimers, you'll find some that are maybe the low hundreds, that are made in China, they sound crappy. If you get them a little more expensive like that, maybe on $300-500 or so, they're better sounding ones.
Actually, I had one. I had a Halo made in St. Louis. I had the Halo number 10. I had it for a couple of years. It was very, very cool. I traded it for a Mandocello. I don't have it anymore.
I'm sorry.
But they're very cool. Very cool instrument. Thank you for playing.